What's up, everybody? My name is Jacob Hardison, and today we've got track walk 1 of 2 for you. Welcome back, everybody, to, of course, the lovely Adrenaline RC YouTube channel, where today we are doing track walk 1 of 2 for the Invitational coming up later this week. We've been super busy here in our Winchester location, getting the indoor and outdoor tracks prepped and ready, and working on cleaning all the facilities so they are perfect for you when you arrive. We actually are still doing some cleaning stuff, but I figured I'd take a little break to give you guys a sneak peek of one of the tracks you'll be racing on this weekend. This, of course, is going to be the 10 scale track for sure of the entirety weekend. And if we happen to get some weather, of which at the moment it should be a beautiful weekend, this is going to be the reserve track for the A scale portion if needed. Like I said, it is supposed to be a beautiful weekend, so I don't think we'll be needing that at all. But without further ado, let me spin you guys around and we will go ahead and get started here with our track walk. As per usual, we'll get our kind of flat look here of the entirety of the track, and then we will get started. Now, technically speaking, we actually haven't started the lap yet because, of course, our loop is down here, but we'll be starting it in just a moment's time. Front of the track is super easy, nothing crazy at all, just a nice flat straightaway, high speed, as we cross the loop and into what is now officially turn number 1. Now, I'm going to come from the side here, that way we can get a much better view, but we certainly went big on this one. We have a step on, step off along the entirety of the length of the building, so it's super massive. Of course, we have our takeoff there, step on to our tabletop, and then you'll step off to another tabletop. So like I said, it's the full length of the building, so lots of airtime, should be high speed airtime at that, and it is gonna be a ton of fun. Something we haven't had for a super long time. I actually don't remember the last layout that I did a step on, step off, a proper step on, step off. But there's a full look at it here. Got some wet paint, so we're gonna step over to the other lane. Walk up this, that way I can get you a full length view of our step on, step off. So pretty massive here. I think the tabletops themselves are close to a foot tall, and then the takeoff for the step off portion is probably 1.5 feet, if I had to guess. I don't know. I'm not good at measuring, but it's big. We're just gonna go with that. So you'll step on, step off to tabletop number 2. We did retain some of the bank from the previous layout. You can see all the way up top here. Still have a little bit of that angle, but you'll notice this white line. So the tabletop is flat all the way through until you get to what is the old portion of the bank. But if you're super tight, as you come off the tabletop, it is going to be a proper drop. So the higher you are, the less drop you have, the closer you are to that AR. And you can see pretty much right where this white line ends is where that is going to end. So you got some options there, whether you want to drop off or ride a little bit of the bank and then try and slingshot into the next portion of the track, which is going to be a jump onto a tabletop. I wouldn't necessarily, I guess it's technically a step on, but there's no step off portion, so it's just kind of like a tabletop double, I guess you could say. And this is going to be pretty similar in height to what that is over there. Like I said, I've got wet paint, so you can't really see what the size of that is. But you'll jump off of here and onto the next tabletop. So 3 tabletops in the start of this lap here. Get a side view. It's a pretty good gap. I don't know exactly what it is off the top of my head, but where this is going to get interesting is that with the size of that takeoff, we're definitely going to see people jumping on top of this tabletop, but I think some of the four-wheel drive mod guys especially, I think they're going to try and jump this all the way to this lander here. Or I guess it's more of a downside rather than a lander. In theory, you're supposed to jump and land on top. But if you're a super cool hot boy, you can of course jump that at this angle, do a whip, and then land at this angle. Now, where we're gonna see a lot of variation is, I'm not entirely sure that if you do that full jump, that you're gonna get slowed down in time to come into what is gonna be a 180. So can you jump on top, be more controlled into this 180, and be faster than somebody trying to jump this, land on the back of this tabletop, and hope that they can get their car slowed down in time? I don't know if you can whip your car enough to be sideways enough to make it to where you don't just way overshoot this. Maybe it won't matter. Maybe it'll just be faster, but we will certainly find out this weekend. This then is going to lead us into a switchback. It's a proper switchback. You definitely can't do any sort of chicane action there whatsoever. So you'll come off of that tabletop in some fashion. You'll switch up and then switch back into just a little short shoot straightaway, where you'll then make a left turn for the car. From the driver's stand, of course, it won't look like a left turn because you're going to be in the opposite position, but you'll make a left into a roller. So this is going to be fairly high speed. Once you come out of there, you can certainly just rip on the throttle and kind of sweep to this roller here, but you want to make sure that you don't carry too much speed, because this roller is going to kind of act a bit like a float. So if you carry too much speed, the car is going to get light over there, you'll get airtime, and then you're going to really struggle to then make the next left turn into our next feature. I said next there a lot, but there's a view of that. Come over that roller, try not to carry too much speed, just get a little bit of lift, and then you'll carry your high speed into a skip double. So we brought the skip double back again. I think this year I've finally nailed it. I've had a couple of variations of it that have worked, have not worked, have been a little bit funky, but I think I nailed it. So our skip this time is going to be not nearly as large as what it is in the past. That way you can carry a little bit more speed into this pretty ginormous takeoff. You can see over there, there's our step on, step off. This takeoff by itself is pretty close in height to what that is peak wise. So you've got a lot of run up there, but the theory is you can then come through here, hit this a little bit harder, get more of a pop, use the pop to slow you down into our massive lander. So I tried to drag this out quite a bit. That way you had a lot of downtime to be able to use the brake into our final kind of sector or section of the track. So there's our skip double. You're going to skip, pop, and of course land the double. Now I'm going to walk slightly backwards here, but there's our lander. You can see we've got plenties and plenties of room to be able to land and get into our final sort of straightaway short shoot thing into the last chicane. Now this one is going to be a proper chicane. If I drop us down right here, you can see a 10 skill car I think is definitely going to be able to make that. An 8 skill car in the future, or if we have to run 8 skill in here, I think is going to be pretty tight. But it is definitely set up in such a fashion that if you're not right on that pipe when you come out of here, you're definitely going to still have to make a true kind of switchback per se. But if you get the line right, it is going to be a pretty fast chicane that then rounds us to the end of the lap officially. There's a reverse view of it. Like I said, just enough room there to squeeze a car if you hit that turn just right. But you'll come down into a much more high-speed sweeper than I think we've had in the past. This turn is in a bit more than what it usually is. And then that'll bring you to the front side of the track. So here's our flat view, like we always do. And I'm going to run us up very quickly to the top of the driver's stand, because I hid something in this track that you probably couldn't tell while we were walking it. So up at the very top here, come to the center. There's the center of the track there. The only thing you're missing is this straightaway, but you don't need to see that for what I'm telling you here. If you look at the left side, you can see it kind of resembles the letter A. And if you look at the right side, it kind of resembles a letter R. Ideally, you kind of actually need to look at it from this here. So one of the things that I thought would be super cool in honor of Invitational, our biggest race of the year, is why not sneak our logo into the track itself? Or I guess not necessarily our logo, but our initials into the track itself. So a very cool twist compared to what we have had in the past. And I think it's super cool that you kind of have that silhouette of the AR in there. And it worked out to be a pretty cool layout, I think. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to drive on. So we'll make our way back to the center point of the track, and we'll end off with just running through the layout. So you'll sweep to the front, cross the stripe into our massive step on, step off. Drop off the stair into the center table double. Through the switchbacks we go into a high-speed sweep with a roller in the center of it. You'll finish out your sweep into the massive skip double that we have returned. You'll go down the back short chute into a final chicane, and then you'll round back out to the front of the track. So super cool layout that we have this year. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. It's going to be high speed. It's going to be big air. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we look forward to everybody getting here later this week, whether it be on Thursday or Friday, for a great and beautiful weekend of racing. And then, of course, tomorrow we'll be back once again to show you guys the outdoor track. That'll be super cool as well. Lee's put a lot of time into that. So make sure you check back to see the final track reveal for the Invitational of 2025. Lots of cool things happening this weekend. We hope you'll enjoy it, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow in an all-new video.